Hi, Becky. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on my channel. I know we have a lot to talk about, and I know you'll be sharing a lot of information about the CFA program and how you passed the exams. But before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I'm Becki Iacopelli. I'm a senior financial advisor. I've been doing this in the high and ultra high net worth space for about 12 plus years now. I have a specialty niche in tax and estate, and now investments as well with the CFA. So you're definitely well suited to the ultra high net worth advisory space.
Nice. And I know you recently got the CFA designation, which is a great achievement.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your experience with the CFA program. What inspired you to start with it, and why did you do it?
Well, I think depth of knowledge. I've always been just in awe of the CFAs that I've known over the course of my career. As soon as I came out of school, I was working for 2 or 3 of them at the firm I was at, and I just thought they were the coolest. And I would have loved to be one day. Here I am, just really surprised at that. But really, it was being able to keep up with the conversations for, higher level clients, and to be able to keep up with the room. Because if you just have like a shallow knowledge of investments, it doesn't quite do it. So I want to be an expert in everything that I'm talking about. And the CFA's the way to do that.
So tell us a little bit about your journey with the CFA program. When did this start? What are some of the things that work really well for you? What are some of the other things that did not work well? And some of the practical elements that you feel like, okay, this is what the candidates must do right now.
Yeah, so I actually started when I was in the middle of my master's degree. I don't recommend that for anyone else, but I had a little bit of time that I could squeeze it in, so I did. But really, I was not prepared for the rabbit hole that it sends you down. It is a lot of work, it's a lot of dedication, and it will absolutely consume you in a good way. I did enjoy it. I feel like it's almost required that you love the subject matter and that you are inspired by it, because it's really hard to get through it if you don't. But I treated it like a part-time job. So I time blocked on my calendar, like I have to study for 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours this day. And I moved everything else on my schedule so that I was able to do that. Consistency, I think, is really the name of the game. The CFA is a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you try to treat it like a sprint, you will absolutely burn out. So it's really just sticking with it consistently and not letting anything else get in the way. I mean, of course, there's life and things happen, but as much as you can treat it like you have to show up, for work, that's the way to succeed. So I would say the things that made the biggest difference, practically speaking, are number one, practice questions. Do not underestimate practice questions. You need to drill those as much as possible. I did do all the content that was provided for me by the study materials. I used Kaplan and for level 1 and level 2, and then for level 3, I used Mark Meldrum. I read all the material. I took the practice quizzes, the little check-in quizzes. I took the actual practice quizzes and all the check-ins along the way, all the practice questions, the mock exams. So I did every aspect of it. And my target was by the end of the last couple months of studying, where you're drilling the practice questions, my goal was to get a 75 or above on every category that you're studying. That way, anything below that, I would target and say, okay, I need to really focus on this and bring it up to a minimum of a 75. When I was reading the actual content of the material, I took diligent notes on everything that was in the material that was a succinct point that I needed to remember, and I categorized those notes. I did them on my iPad so that I could pull them up on any kind of device I have. They, are in the cloud, and it was categorized by each topic area, so that anytime I was doing a practice question, I could go back to the exact section of my notes very quickly without having to do much flipping, and I could see exactly where the notes were for that particular subject. So I could review and drill it without any kind of friction getting in the way. During the last month, I almost exclusively stuck to mock exams and practice questions, so I didn't really go back reading. And then also for the formulas, I had I had all the formulas in my notes, and I kept a running list of the formulas like in my notes app. I have an Apple phone, so in my notes app I had a like a bulleted list with check boxes next to them of all the formulas. And that way, when it came down to the last couple of months of practice before the exam, I had a list of just formulas, just the name of the formulas, so that I could see the list and say, okay, and then repeat it back in my head and drill them all down like that. So I didn't have to like go through a bunch of notes to see which kind of formulas I needed to remember. I had a running list. That list actually got to like 240 by the end of the CFA level 2. Because I also added in like not just number formulas, things that were like, you know, like 5 things I had to remember for this particular thing. I would include that as well. So between the list of formulas and other things you memorize, it was like 240 things long. But I mean, it worked really well because if I would like go for walks or things like that, I would just, every time I had a free moment, I would drill more formulas.
So it seems like you had a quite detailed plan when it came to preparing for the exams, which brings me to my next question, which is, did you have any sort of like work-life balance? Because it seems like you were just like only studying and you had no time for other stuff. So how did you manage that?
Yeah, so just to put actual numbers on it, I probably studied for about 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday, 8 hours Saturday, 8 hours Sunday. And then, you know, give or take, I had lunch. And then during the week, I would target at least 1 to 2 hours each weekday, whether it was at night or my lunch hour or whatever the case was. So honestly, I did feel like I still had somewhat of a work-life balance because I worked all day and I didn't interfere my work with my CFA studying. Like I kept that separate. And after, like, as long as you get in like your hour or so of studying, either at lunch or like right after work, then you could, you know, go out with your friends at 7 p.m. if you wanted to. On weekends, I studied from like 8:30 a.m. till like 5 or so p.m. So then after, I could go out to dinner. So my daytimes, yes, they were sucked up. And during the summertime, obviously that's not ideal because, you know, if you go to the beach, that's an all day affair. That's not 5 p.m. after. So yeah, it kind of felt like it was stuck to 5 p.m. and later as opposed to like daytime activities on Saturday and Sunday. But something I asked myself when I was doing it was, you know, you always face decisions where you have to like, you know, change up your study schedule for something that just life happens or people invite you somewhere or whatever. And every single time it's like, oh, should I go? I know if I have a drink, I'm not going to want to study after and like, it's going to put me behind in my schedule. I would ask myself, I'd say, if I knew for a fact that I was going to fail the exam because I went to happy hour instead of studying today, would that be worth it? And most of the time the answer was no. So I still did all of those things. Like I wasn't crazy, but you do need a level of dedication that you probably have not experienced. I didn't experience before I had to take this exam.
Yeah, you were quite diligent and disciplined in that sense. So which are some of the qualities that you need when you are preparing for these CFA exams.
Yeah.
And it's not the only designation that you have, because you are also a certified financial planner. So I want to know a little bit about that experience, how it was different from the CFA program, and why did you do it?
Yeah, so the CFP was actually the first designation I got was in 2018. And that was like a few years after school. So in the advisory space, which is what I'm in, wealth management, CFP is like to get in the door. You pretty much have to have a CFP to be like, you know, a trusted advisor. So that one is it's not as difficult as the CFA exam. It's only one exam as opposed to 3. And it is multiple choice, the entire one, at least when I took it in 2018. And they, unlike the CFA, give you the answer immediately. As soon as you finish the exam, they don't make you wait 8 weeks. So that one is not as like overbearing and challenging. I mean, it's still, you know, a difficult exam and it requires studying. I studied for about a year, like self-study for that one. So there's a lot to it, but it's not quite the bear that the CFA is.
Yeah, I know a little bit about this CFP. I feel like it's not something that is like highly spoken. I think there's such a big emphasis on completing your CFA exams and getting the
Yeah.
CFA designation, especially in university. That's all you hear about, and I think it's like you said, like the perception that the CFA exam or having the CFA designation gives you is that, oh, the people who have it are pretty cool.
Yes, yeah.
So, and I agree. I know we both have it, but I do agree we're cool. So,
in the advisory space, it depends on what space you're in, because it's kind of the opposite in the advisory space. With us, we only hear that about the CFP, and the CFA is pretty rare for an advisor. I'm actually the only person in my firm who's an advisor who has the CFA. The other people are just specifically investment management, like the chief investment officer. But if you're in like the analyst or corporate finance or, big banks kind of places, you absolutely will hear nothing but the CFA. Like that is the only thing you will hear. So it kind of depends. I would say that the combination of the CFP and the CFA in my space is very powerful because it's pretty unique.
I agree. It's pretty powerful, the combination of both, which brings me to my next question. You have both of them. You have the CFA designation as well as the CFP. For, let's say, for students who are curious about it, like what are some of the career paths that they can take with each one of the designation?
Yeah, so with the CFP, you could go into the wealth management space. You could be a financial advisor. You could be in investment management as well, but you'll most likely be more geared towards the advisory space, like holistic tax planning, estate planning, retirement planning, things like that. Investments is 100% part of that, and it's a big part of it. But you need all of those other elements to be a good holistic advisor. The CFA, that could be very specific and niche. You could be an analyst, you could be a portfolio manager specifically. So you could be, as a portfolio manager, somebody who works at an advisory firm, or like a Goldman Sachs or a JP Morgan in the private bank space, which is an advisory space. But you'd most likely be doing exclusively portfolio management. So that would be like trading, due diligence on securities, things like that, model portfolios, things like that. So it kind of depends on if you want the wealth management space or if you want the specifically like quantitative analysis, trading, investments only kind of phase. If you like a little bit of both, like me, you get them both.
So as we're approaching the end of our interview, what's next for you? Is there anything else that you want to do?
I think I'm good for designations because, the alphabet soups gets a little too long. Right now, I'm just in growth mode. I'm trying to build my business and everything like that. I'm trying to take over the world when it comes to this industry. CEO is not off the table for me. So the sky's the limit is how I like to see it.
I love it. I really like that when I see other ambitious and driven women, and I think we need more women in finance, and you're definitely one example of that. And before I let you go, do you want to share maybe one piece of advice for those who are pursuing the CFA designation as well as those that are pursuing the CFA, the CFP designation as well?
For the CFA designation, I say buckle up. And be ready to make some sacrifices because that is what has to take place in order to achieve it. But you will absolutely not regret it. Just in the couple of months that I've finished it, the opportunities that have come my way just from having that in addition to the other designations I have has just been off the charts. So I'd say it's worth it any day of the week, no matter how much it requires of you. CFP, I would say, make sure you're learning the application of what you learn in the exams as opposed to just kind of rote memorization, because learning how to apply it and to communicate to a client is the most powerful thing. You'll get the most of saying, how do I explain this to a client? And if you can explain it to a client who knows nothing about it, then you most likely understand it yourself.
Nice. Thank you so much, Becki, for sharing all that information. Before I let you go, tell us how people can connect with you.
So I'm on LinkedIn as Becki Iacopelli. I'm on Instagram as advisor Becki _. Becki spelled with an I. And I'm on Twitter, which I call Twitter because I'm a millennial and it's actually X. I'm on there as advisor Becki _ as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my channel.
Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you.